Welcome to Business for Breakfast, where business is the most important meal of the day. I'm your host, Aaron Novinger. Our goal in this show is to make you 1% smarter today by unpacking the top business news over the last 24 hours, sprinkled in with tips and tricks to help you mind your own business. Now, I know why you're here. You are here for the morning mark. Now, here's the kicker about the morning mark. You know what's weird? Whether or not you like this, whether or not you like me, you know that this one thing, it's like City Slickers, Curly, the one thing. That is what today is. The mark is the one thing, right? But you're asking, what is it? But I know it's why you're here. No props required, no drinks, no gear, just you and a functioning brain. We'll work with what we've got. Wherever you are, desk, truck, kitchen, job site, standing, sitting, it does not matter. You pick one thing you're going to finish today. Not a list, not 10, not three, just one. Now mark it mentally and write it down. That's the line in the sand. That's the thing that the day doesn't get to erase. This is the pause that sharpens the edge. The moment that turns noise into signal. This tiny act that makes business owners dangerous in a good way. That, my friends, is your morning mark. Your day has officially started. Let's dive in, shall we? Okay, guys, we have an insane day of news. I'm not kidding. Like a really crazy day of news. When I say crazy day, it's great on Mondays because you guys know that your news is, well, you don't know this, but your news is kind of comprised over, good morning, Justin. Good to see you, buddy. And how's the sound, my friend? Hopefully, the sound is good. Okay. So, whenever I come in on a Monday, it's really cool because I get to use over the weekend. I apologize, a little gas this morning, but I go and like just kind of look at X and look whatever's top in business news. It's kind of bookmark it for today. So, even though it's over the weekend, you really get like I don't know, like 2.5 days worth of news. And some stuff happens over the weekend, but it's always really interesting. And there's really, really cool stuff to bookmark. And so that's why we've always got plethora of content to hang out with. And you guys know we go through the news together. So I've got hundreds of stories. We scam, we talk about it. My job is basically to be your news chauffeur, if you will, as you're heading to work. So I'm going to do all of the searching for you because you already do this. So I'll just do it for you. Now, I do need to apologize because this morning has been it has been a day. So my wife decided, thank you, Justin. She decided to go hang out with one of her friends last night. They went to comedy club, stayed in town, and so which my favorite person to hang out with when she leaves is myself. So yesterday afternoon, man, I am just in the zone, bro. The amount of stuff that I created, it's like I don't know. It was kind of magical, man. Like for me, my quilting for me. Okay, if we're talking like quilting for me would be like sitting around for like 4, 5, 6 hours and just building SOPs. Really working on a complex org chart. I know it's crazy, but I don't know. I kind of like that stuff, right? So this is like my favorite thing to do. So I got a chance to kind of do that and hang out. And I think I maybe touched, I kind of divide my day up into, for me, it's my four main buckets, which is personal, obviously the accounting firm, and then my pet kind of give back project, which is pedaling against Ponzi's, right? And then what is the fourth? The other big priority. These are like the four things that everything I do kind of fits into. I can tell you right now. Let's see. Oh, that is me time. So here's my four big buckets. Oh, yes, ministry. So that's it. So basically, everything I do fits typically really nicely and neatly into one of those four buckets. And so yesterday, I kind of really got a chance to kind of touch everything, which is like my favorite thing. But the problem is that yesterday, I my routine was out of whack. Okay, so Rebecca leaves early afternoon. I'm chilling like a batch, right? And routine. And you guys hear me say this a billion times, but Here's one of my secrets in life, okay? Routine is the key. Consistency will set you free, okay? You heard me say it a million times. I'm a routine dude. But she was gone, which some I don't understand this, dudes. I don't know. If you maybe you guys can give me a shout out on this thing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But anytime that happens, I'm like, oh, we could just stay up late, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I think I fell asleep around 10 o'clock. I don't know, on the couch. And you guys know, especially on Mondays, I get up early, like 3 anywhere between 3 and 4, okay? So, but 5 a.m. for me is like the last final alarm. So, I wake up this morning at 2 a.m. on the couch, which is never a good thing. Now, if your wife is home and that happens, that's usually for a different reason. She wasn't home. That was just me playing batch, okay? No bueno. So literally alarm goes off this morning. So what you're gonna see today, I need to apologize for. It's not going to be my best. It'll be 80%. But here, my job is to just show up every day and be consistent. I don't promise to be at my best every day. You know what I'm saying? But I do promise this will be the best Business for Breakfast episode you've ever seen. That, my friends, I can promise. And I know I can promise it because I'm going to give you two fantastically amazing dad jokes. Yes, that's right. I'm going to start giving you two because you know what? You get to pick which of these two is going to make your entire day. Okay, you tell me, right? Here's the first one. Okay, here we go. Number one, dad joke number one. What kind of shoes do frogs wear? You know it, bro. Extra Burks. Open toed sandals. Whoop, whoop. Open toed sandals. Can I get a woot woot? All right. What is number two dad joke of the day? I just built an ATM that only gives out coins. I don't know why no one's thought of this before. It just makes sense. Oh, woot woot. Can I get a woot woot? It just makes sense. Which of these is your fave? You get to pick. Now it's time for some juicy news. Juicy news, which you guys know is my favorite news. Like, if you're going to have news, I'm just going to ask you, would you rather, listen to me, have either just news, okay? Would you rather have juicy news or would you rather have moist news, right? I already know. I already know the order of these, but now you get why juicy news is the best of the three options, okay? Now, let's dive in, shall we? Now, I saw this over the weekend and I flipped out because I was on X and it was actually a post. Carol Roth, great follow on X, was replying to Graham Stephen, also great follow on X. And the post was a mass wealth transfer from young Americans to college administrators facilitated by the largest predatory lender in the world, the US government. Yes. Now, this is, you guys know, and the reason why I bookmarked was for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, partied in the 90s, okay, raised families in the early 2000s. And in my opinion, obviously, not my parents, not their parents, but I have never heard of anybody that ever said that those time periods were not the greatest time periods on planet Earth for all of that. Okay, sorry, I get really excited, smack my mic. But something weird happened because I'm kind of unique because all three of my parents, my mom, my dad, my natural dad, and my adopted dad, were all air traffic controllers in the Navy. So I grew up in a tower my whole life. And because of that, I grew up not in a family that was like, you will go to college, but it was, you will be useful. You will have a trade. You'll do something that you enjoy doing. But typically, college was reserved for those that needed college for that specific trade, like being a doctor, a lawyer, or accountant, or whatever, something like that. Or if you wanted like higher level management, right? But basically, everybody else went to trade school. But in the 90s, universities started shifting where started being the focus like, no, everybody's got to go to college. Right. But like, I don't even know what I want to do. Right. But you have to go to like TCU. Right. But, and by the way, back then it was like 15K a semester. I know dirt cheap, like 30K a year. Right. And that was in the 90s. That was the 90s. Okay. Which was still outrageous back then. Okay. Now, And here's the problem. There's no credit check for any of these peeps. And without these individuals actually having a clear cut idea of what they want to do, it's forcing individuals into debt for decades. So growing up, I had a best friend. Like she and I were like uber tight, right? And so we're actually friends today. And she basically, we're kind of decided we were both going to go to like Baylor. I wanted to be a doctor, and I forgot what she wanted to be. And so but I get into Baylor, but before I go sign my, student loan paperwork, it was like this epiphany. I was like, "Wait a minute, wait. Why can't I just go to, like, junior college and knock out my basics and not already be that far in debt?" And so I had made a decision to go that route. Thank the Lord I did because honestly, I apologize. I've got a little bit of, hiccups here, but if I'd gone that route, I hadn't really realized that what I wanna do yet. Well, my friend ended up going to TCU, right, which you guys know, Texas Christian University private school, ubero expensovo. By the way, that's your Spanish lesson for the day, and you're welcome, right? And guess what? How long does that take to pay that off? 20 years? And guess what? She's a teacher. And by the way, love teachers, but honestly, there's things out there, and by the way, this is a major prop for online schools. You guys know that if you've I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Western Governors University, okay? So, I've got enough school right now to I think I'm like, a couple I don't know, like, I'm needing, like, a couple maybe, like, a year's worth of classes. But the great thing is WGU lets you go it's competency based, and it goes at your pace, and they're not semesters, they're every 6 months. You can take as many classes as you can squeeze in, and you only pay 1 fee for the whole 6-month period. So and you'll typically see high capacity individuals that usually run a business or, are high capacity will typically do WGU because it lets you, schedule around your schedule and study around your schedule, and if you know the material, you can you can go ahead and test out. So as soon as you come in, they take basically it's a practice exam, and when you feel that you've got the practice exam, then you schedule the proctored exam, the actual exam. And that can be within a week. That's what's really cool about it. If you know the material, they're like, good, they know the material. Our job's to make sure they know the material in this degree, not to hold them slave that you have to follow these particular rules. It's competency based. It's brilliant. And by the way, I think they charge like 4K every 6 months. So, and they are highly accredited. So, um, employers love degrees from WGU because that means this person has the ability to carry multiple high level projects at the same time and not drop the ball. It actually gives you major props when you're going to school full time because WGU basically starts you at full time. And you're also running your business. That means a lot. Okay. And going back to school later on in life means you've kind of figured out what you dig and what you don't dig. And you really start honing in on what you dig and doing what Scott Adams always talks about, which is building your talent stack, right? Building that talent stack, right? That didn't come from me. That came straight from Mr. Adams himself. But he's exactly right. Let's build that talent stack, right? And so let's talk about what is going on in the news today. So, all right, so there is right now, this is a few hours ago in Wired, the race to build the deep seek of Europe is on. Okay, okay. So basically, what we're seeing here is deep seek, which we know is China's big AI. What you have here is you have two superpowers who who are in a all-out race of technology. And by the way, I saw over the weekend BYD's electric vehicle. Their two-door supercar is so flipping gorgeous. Like I mean gorge just 2 words, 2 exclamation points, that pretty, okay? And absolutely beautiful. And so they make some amazing stuff. Well, just like we typically are only privy to like Tesla, and we think that that's like the EV car manufacturer around the world. It's not. Okay, BYD is enormous. Okay, probably has more share than Tesla does, or they're very similar. Matter of fact, why don't we just do this? Uh, I'll ask. I'm going to Gemini right now. Who has more market share of the EV market? Tesla or BYD? Here's what Gemini is telling us. I can't ask Grok, and I'm not saying Grok is partial, but honestly, if I owned it, I probably would lean a little bit toward me. You know what I'm saying? So, by the way, I'm not saying it does. Love me some Grok. Okay, but mm, oh, whoa, whoa. As of early 2026, BYD has officially overtaken Tesla as the world leader in electric vehicle EV market share. Wow. So the two companies have basically traded the title for the last couple of years, but this is the first year. Wow. Whoa. And it's not even by a little, it's by, well, I say little, it's by a lot. Okay. So um, let's see. Total EVs sold, okay, for last year. Tesla, 1.64 million, which by the way, um, what BYD does and looks and maybe features, not tech, because we know Tesla is basically just a cell phone, a really cool enclosed cell phone on four tires, right? So they're full self. That is actually my goal this year. We've got a couple little toys that I'm selling right now, and my goal is to get because you have to buy a 2023 or newer Tesla to get be able to have the latest version of FSD, right? Full self-driving. Because now just go to YouTube and just spend a few minutes watching version 4.22 and watching people just leave their house, not touching anything, snow, ice, doesn't matter. This thing is amazing. So that's kind of that's my goal this year, is to have a at least a 2023, probably Model 3, like long range, because our accounting offices tend to be like 15, well, I say 15. I don't even know why I said 15. They're usually about 250, 300 miles apart from each other. And so I really, really want to be able to get because of the FSD and the hands off. I mean, years ago when I would have to travel to the offices, I would hire somebody to drive me so that way I could work, because it just wasted time. And those trips were down and back. And so it kind of made sense because I just pay somebody by the hour, and it worked out well. But now when I travel, I'm gone for days and I can't do it, but which is just means it's actually wasted time. So the goal this year is max efficiency, maximum overload. Okay. What else is in the news? Shall we look? Let's see here. Market news, market news. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Here's an article in Market Watch. Trump plans 10% tariff on European countries over Greenland. What it means for markets. Okay. You know what? I am sick and flipping tired of talking about tariffs without us actually understanding tariffs. Okay. So if I can, I'm going to show us, I'm going to have a little lesson for us. Okay. So let me see here. All right. So I'm going to move this thing out of the way here. All right. So this is my very first one, but you guys know that this show is in honor and tribute of Mr. Scott Adams, and he was famous for his whiteboard lessons. So this one is going to be called Tariffs, okay? And slightly dyslexic. Okay, so which I am quite positive, okay? Basically means, here it is. All right. Okay. I'm like, is it two R's or two F's? It's always two F's. Stop being an idiot. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So, um, first of all, you did that sideways. Sorry, my bad, my bad. Okay, so tariffs. When you guys see how this works, I think it's going to make a lot of sense to you. Okay. And by the way, I'm doing this literally with you guys. Okay. But I do think it's important because everybody wonders who pays, because we both know when it comes to economics and politics, all governments, state-owned media will lie to you, and because they have to, right? So don't be mad at them. They have to. All right. Now, number one, I'm going to give you an example on this stuff. Okay. So let me move my mic a little bit out of the way. Right. So, all right. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Number one. All right. I was kind of working on this over the weekend because I knew I was going to be talking about it today. Okay. Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. Hold on. I think I'm about to literally change your life. As a matter of fact, this is going to be the greatest explanation of how a tariff works you've ever seen. Period. Period. Okay. All right. So, all right. All right. Here's how this works. Dollar bill. Uh-huh. Currency, right? By the way, you're gonna love my drawings. I'm serious. You guys are gonna really dig this stuff. Okay. Uh-huh. And here we go. All right. Then we have to pay higher prices. Okay, you guys ready? Ah, right. All right, here we go. Okay, guys, thank you for waiting 60 seconds while I drew this in front of you, by the way. Okay. So here's what I'm showing you guys. This is the tariff whiteboard. So, what is this? Tariff whiteboard. Okay. So, tariffs is a three-part process. Okay. So, number one, who pays? Right here. You see this? It's the boss. It is not the other country. I am sick and flipping tired of the politicians actually trying to sell this, that it's like the other country that's paying this. No, it's not. Not even remotely close. The item comes in. So, and by the way, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my good friends owns a big construction company where they supply the wholesale guys that bid on these big like apartment projects, their concrete and rebar, right? And I mean, for years, this guy's been talking about that when new tariffs happen, he's the one that has to pay, and you have to pay at the dock. So as the material comes in, that tax, that tariff has to be paid at the dock for the goods to be released. Okay. So that is why when I'm telling you guys that it is the boss, the employer, the US based company has to pay this tariff. And remember when Trump was like, "Oh yeah, it's like generated 200 billion or whatever it is, extra money." Okay, well, it's technically true, but all he did was he literally took it straight out of the US market. That money was trapped in our savings accounts. He pulled it from us. Okay, so the money gets pulled out from us. Okay, then what happens? Then we have to go over to who's the one that's really affected? Us, right? Which is right here, right here. The shopper, us. By the way, this is a price tag. You can't really tell. And by the way, that's you. Male, female doesn't really know, but you guys know that's basically um, just basically your photograph right there. Okay, so that is you having to pay it, right? And also, what does that mean? Because we all know companies exist to do what? Generate profit. Okay, so I want you to follow me here. We were talking about this last week. When California raises minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour, right? Do you actually think that, let's say, a McDonald's is going to say, "Oh no, we just can't raise the rates of our cheeseburger to our customer"? That just would not be right. No way, dude. No way. Of course they're going to raise it. So your freaking cheeseburger just got 7 cents more expensive, right? Oh yeah, they're not eating the cost. Okay. So guess what? Your boss has to raise the rates on their invoices, their customers, right? And then what? That customer has to do what? Increase their prices. That to charge more to the customer, which means what? We, the one that has the money, have to pay more, right? How does this affect the third component of this? And it does eventually the other country. Okay. Right here. Right. Because over enough time, and this is really how it ends up really affecting it. Okay. So as soon as a tariff happens, I want you to think of the movement of a freight train, a mile-long freight train. And by the way, I'm obsessed with trains. My wife knows this about me. If I hear a train, I swear, if you intentionally stop, if I hear a train and I'm by a track, I will put my hazards on and wait. I'm not kidding. I'm that weirdo. I've wanted to be a train engineer my whole life. I've been obsessed with those things since I was little. It's their power, it's their sound, I don't know. But a mile-long freight train works just like tariffs. Okay, so train there, it's going at full momentum. Okay, and then hits its brakes. Okay, so that's pulling the cash out, right? Which is an immediate effect, right? But the long term effect is takes a while. Like this thing takes about a mile or so to slow down and fully feel the effect of it, to slow down the momentum of the working between these economies. Okay, so we pull money out, which hits the brakes on this mile long freight train. Okay, and what ends up happening is that we end up over time, and by the way, we have a mile long freight train going between us and the countries that we're tariffing. Okay, and it's at full momentum. So as soon as we do a tariff, pop, it pulls quick cash into the economy. Okay, and again, we're the ones paying for it. Okay, and yes, all companies have to adjust everything, which causes everything to go up. Your salaries, everything, which is literally inflation. Okay, but here's how it affects the country, because you just trip the brakes, which means people are what? We are creatures of habit. Routine is the key. Consistency will set you free. Okay. You guys know, all of you guys know this, the three P's of primal existence. What are they? Pain, pleasure, pattern recognition. If you actually own and run a service-based company and you understand these three things, you can literally actually easily, it's a cheat code to being number one in your industry. That's it. Focus on those three things. Fixing this one, adding more of this one, and then building patterns. Okay. But when you are used to dealing with a particular country, and all of a sudden now the brakes got tripped because you're having to pay more, which is affecting your customer, and you're having to deal with really angry customers and explaining why you have to charge them more and backdate the invoice or the job bid that they won 6 months ago, right? I know, I hear it every day from you guys. Okay. That's why their job is to trip the breaker and slow down the freight train, because ultimately what you don't want is the loss of momentum between the two countries. And tripping the breaker is tripping tariffs. Tripping tariffs is the same thing as tripping brakes. Okay? It slows it down. And when you start going somewhere else, you never go back. It's permanent damage to the country. It's temporary for us. It's permanent to the country. Now you understand how the freaking tariff thing works, right? Okay, good. I swear, man. Everybody's like, oh, it's great for the economy. Oh, tariffs are great. Yeah, whatever. Please explain to me how that even means anything, because all I see is prices going up. And all my business, friends, owner friends that have to deal with this crap are like talking about how they have to keep going back and rebidding their jobs because tariffs keep increasing. See what I'm saying? It's like a pain in the rear, right? Sorry, I'm going to get off my little soapbox here, but I'm just sick and tired of working class always getting taken advantage of. The mom and pop venti shops are the hardest working people on planet Earth. They're the most underserviced, underutilized, underappreciated. And honestly, that's quite literally why we are like the only accounting firm that has peer advisory groups. And it's an easy little, I'll tell you guys basically what we do. We're one of the few accounting firms not owned by accountants, but by small business owners. Okay. So we know an accountant's really number one job is to document what you did yesterday. Okay. So there is always this, I always call it healthy tension. Okay. So there's always healthy tension between a business owner, right? Or somebody that's high capacity, right? And their accountant, always, because the business owner is wanting more from the accountant, but the accountant can't give more than what they're supposed to give, which is why there's always that tension. Here's what I mean. In accounting, your truthfully, the accountant's only job is to document what you did yesterday, document your transactions, make sure that you categorize properly to make sure that you're by the book for the federal, state, and local revenue collecting agencies. That is literally accountant's only job. Please explain to me how the heck that helps you run your business. It doesn't. We know that. Okay, so that's why for us, we're one of the few accounting firms owned by small business owners, not accountants, which means then we actually add the second part of that, which is helping you do what? Increase profits, dominate your market, right? And that's why we really focus on accountability. That's the purpose of today's show. We want to help you get 1% smarter today. The job is through the news, through a little bit of tips and tricks, through some reframing. You pick up one thing today that helps you just get 1% smarter today, right? And so that's why we start at the first of the month, our peer advisory groups. They're always free to our owners, and you don't have to be one of our customers to join. If you want information, make sure you go to businessforbreakfastradio.com submit a question. I get them, so I'll reply back to you or read it on the air. Or if you want to just chat with me about business, accounting, payroll, bookkeeping, consulting, I've got an idea for a business. The amount of businesses that I've helped individuals start from ideas, it's unlimited. It's a lot, is what I'm saying. But I've been doing this for 25 years. So, if you guys need help with anything, I have my own personal scheduling website, speakwithaaron.com. Go there. And by the way, it's Aaron, Aaron. That's right. Not Balake, it's Aaron. Okay. So go to speakwithaaron.com and go ahead, get us and book us a time, and we'll hang out. We'll chat about you, your business, your ideas, and let's help you suffer a little less today, shall we? All right, let's jump back into some gnarly news, or we like to say juicy news. All right. Ooh, this is by Dickie Bush, by the way. Great follow. Great follow on X. My potent deep work sessions start with clearly defining when I will knock them out and how long they will last. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Um, I've been obsessing over this because you guys have been reading about like Elon Musk's 15-minute like planning, right? So he time blocks his day in 15-minute increments. I've been doing this recently and it is mind bending. It's mind bending. So I'm going to tell you guys. You guys know this basically show. I have to eat my own home cooking. If it ain't delicious to me, you guys know I ain't going to give it to you. Okay, so everything that I do, I tell you guys about. So for me, I use the Toggle app, which is phenom. And I told you guys before, my life is divided into really four categories: personal, which is literally personal, or other business projects that aren't dealing with the other three. Then I have obviously the accounting firm. Then I have my side kind of heart project, which is the Penalty Against Ponzi's annual bike ride and PonziRelief.org. And the last is ministry. And so I've got a couple little pet projects with that too. So basically everything I do kind of just easily dumps into one of those four buckets. And the thing with ADD is it has to be stupidly simple or my brain throws tantrums. Okay. So if you've ever had ADD, you understand it is both a superpower and it is also your kryptonite. It is quite literally both, right? It just depends on what mood it's in. So the idea is for you guys, that was a kind of a thing for me is really utilizing Elon Musk's secret efficiency tool of planning every 15 minutes. You think that it's going to be very distracting. But here's what's weird. I am normally, if you can't tell, a little highly, like my energy is very high. Okay. So I'm not one of those dudes like, oh my God, we should do this. But I have very, very strong energy. Okay. You can literally feel it as I talk, right? And so, honestly, just between me and you, as a husband that has strong energy and I'm a very passionate dude, the majority of my fights, can't believe I'm telling you guys this. It's because it's not what I say, it's how I say it. It's always my tone. And so, you guys, there's a couple channels that I love to follow. I am Coach Colin and Jesse on Fire. And these two, they're politics. Okay. But if you just love entertainment, go watch them. The reason why they're fantastic is because both of these dudes kind of talk about the very similar content, but they're polar opposites, but they're tight friends that like talk every day, but they're polar opposites. I feel like I'm more like Jesse's on Fire, okay? But I just want to give you the business news, right? But let's have some fun and let's joke around. But I'm telling you is that when you utilize the 15-minute time blocking trick or the hack, it quite literally slows down time like you're in the Matrix. I swear to you, I'm not making this up. Okay. It's like you're in the Matrix. Okay. You're able to see stuff. You stay in a place of mindfulness that you've never been before. Because for the first time in your entire life, listen to me, you've been in control of basically every minute of your day. Where listen to me, you're not checking, like, an airplane has what? Kind of their own version of autopilot, right? Which is what? It's thousands of micro corrections per minute, right? Right. Well, imagine doing micro corrections of your day every 15 minutes. It makes you superhuman. It makes you superhuman. I swear to you. And if you use something like the Toggle app, not an iPhone guy, Android guy, but Toggle app, I'm telling you right now, you have your main categories, okay? And everything you do, quick little task. And I have everything I have set for 15 minutes on that thing. And If and what it does is it forces you to take this big list of what you have to do today, and you can only do one or no more than two things in that 15-minute block. So guess what it does? It removes all anxiety of the day because it forces you to only focus on one, no more than two things at a time. Let me explain something to you. 100 years from now, we will look back and realize, yes, Elon Musk is everything. Okay. Um, but you're going to realize when talking about engineering efficiency, there will be nobody better before or after. The only closest person to engineering efficiency would be John D. Rockefeller, because and they're both very very similar men. Where John D. Rockefeller, because he had to own everything in the process, and it was a well known story that he was making his barrels and talking about the rivets around the rings, and he was trying to figure out how many rivets it actually takes to actually hold the integrity of the barrel. And they finally got it down. I think it was like to 9 rivets, and he was celebrating. He was able to trim it from 10 to 9, one rivet. But he knew, right? So that old saying, right? You never want to trip over dollars to pick up pennies, right? We want to be tripping over pennies to pick up dollars. You hear what I'm saying, right? That's definitely a woot woot. All right, let's get back into some gnarly news, shall we? Okay, what else is happening in the news? Uh-huh, uh-huh. Ooh, I saw this post over the weekend by Matt Gray, and I thought it was amazing. If your business runs on your nervous system, it's not scalable. That's big, man. And that's actually big for you because if you wake up every day and there's like always a state of panic, like you wake up and you're like, oh, good morning, world. And then you take a deep breath and you're like, because you already know, right? That's not a good place. Your body was never designed to be in fight or flight like this. It never was. Okay. So, in short periods of time, but not every second of the day where it's like an IV drip of like adrenaline. Your body's not designed for that because adrenaline does what? Releases cortisol, which does what? Makes you conserve. Why? Listen to me. Listen to me. You know anything about the human body? I want you to go back just, I don't know, a couple thousand years ago. Okay. Um, and no, not even that. Go back to cowboys and Indians, okay? Because back then, still crap was still regularly eating you, okay? So just think about it. You basically get up and you are given these insane like hypercomputers, which are our brains, that process in milliseconds. Not as fast as cats, okay, but definitely fast, okay? And you have to assess like, is this whatever's in front of me something that's going to eat me? Like, is this pain or pleasure? All right. And we've learned through thousands of years how to build patterns around that. Okay. And so what I'm trying to tell you is we had to decide and quickly if this was going to eat us or not. Right. So you had to basically figure out quickly if this thing was going to, be painful to you. And so here's the kicker though. Okay. This was supposed to be designed and released in short bursts, like using, squirts of nitrous here and there. Your engine's not supposed to run on nitrous with fuel. It's supposed to be squirts here and there. Okay. Right. That's how it is on your nervous system. So this is going to be a good litmus test for you guys this week. Okay. Today, I want you to think about something. What is it that's causing you stress? Bezos says this. He was, I think, the very first one that said this that made sense to me. And usually these geniuses speak in like fourth grade language. But he was like, look, if you're usually stressed, it's because you're not acting or doing something. So take some time, be self-aware, journal about it, and then just solve it. Right. And remember, we talk about it all the time. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So you've got to have the mindset of things just work out for me. It's always going to work out. It always does. So, and you have to have the mindset that in business, there's no such thing as checkmate. There's always a next move if you stare at the board long enough. Did you hear me? You are frustrated right now and you're thinking about giving up. I know you are. I know you are. I know you are. Listen to me. Listen to me. And by the way, I have been in this place so many freaking times in my life. And I know right now you're feeling frustrated. It's Monday morning. You're feeling the weight of the world, the weight of the year, the weight of the week. You know what's coming up. It's the end of the month. You've got quotas. I know. But listen, man, I'm just trying to help you guys understand things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Okay. So let that be kind of a reframe for you guys today because you'll realize is that most of the time, put this in perspective, my experience is that I have yet to find a time where I've gone through a hurricane and not had a beautiful rainbow afterwards. Both things can be true. Hear me here. Both things can be true. You can be going through a really gnarly storm, but beautiful things can come from that. If you ever hear Elon Musk's story about the Model 3, because the Model 3 manufacturing literally almost bankrupted Tesla. He basically he automated too quickly, and you basically you have to have the mindset when you're production really business that it's perfection by a thousand corrections. You can't basically start day one thinking you've already made the thousand corrections. That's what you can't do. You have to slowly do it. And it's he was famous sleeping at the factory under his desk on a mattress, right? Because now here's the thing: ask him today. I promise you, I'll never get a chance to meet the guy, even though he's brilliant. And his brother is a huge champion of small business, and to meet him would be a insane dream of mine. But ask him if you're close to him. Everybody's 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. So one of you guys listening for sure is 6 degrees from this dude. Ask him. Um, was that probably one of the worst times that you've had in Tesla history? Probably say yes. Okay. And then say, now, was there a beautiful rainbow that came from it? And he will also say yes. It's the way it is, man. So listen, just understand if your business is running the way it is, you've got to slow down and you've got to start planning. Okay. And here's what I mean by this. Okay. Hear me. This is going to be in proportion. It's a sliding scale. Okay. So here is on right here, this hand is stress. And this over here is planning. Okay. So both of these, watch this. They work inversely. If you're insanely stressed right now, whether it's life, whether it's business, whatever it is, okay, and you're really, really stressed, okay, I want to start challenge you, start planning, okay, because this is what success looks like. Planning plus execution equals success. The more you plan, the less stress you have. The more you plan, the less stress you have. And that's why people that have the happiest people on planet Earth, who are also the most boring people on planet Earth, are engineers. Okay, I happen to know a lot of them. They're the greatest people. A couple of them actually have their own woodworking shops and build out vans for some amazing people. And that's what I'm saying, dude. But these people plan everything. Okay, they're obsessive planners, right? But that comes from anxiety. The more you plan, the less stress you have, right? What else is in the news today? Let's go over to Yahoo News. There's always, I love Yahoo News because there's like the brand new stuff, right? Let's see here. Freshy Fresh. All right. Dollar dented as Trump tariff threats drive investors into safe havens. Duh. I told you how the money comes out. When you trip the brakes, you're actually tripping the brakes, and you're actually harming the country that's actually inducing the tariff, right? You guys remember this? The tariff whiteboard, right? So the boss, right? This is the one when it gets imported has to pay. The boss does, but the boss can't eat that, so they have to make sure that they are able to increase their prices, which means what? It affects us, the customer, right? Which, but no, but it does end up affecting because in the end, we end up not, we stop using that country because we don't want, none of us, remember pain, pleasure, pattern recognition. You see what's happening here, right? So the idea here is that it becomes painful dealing with a country because of high tariffs, right? Which means we do what? We like to move away from pain to pleasure. And then we like to build patterns around that. That's why if you go into a forest, you see like these weird Willy Wonka trees, like growing like this. Why? Because every living thing down to a microscopic cell was built in the 3 P's of primal existence: pain, pleasure, pattern recognition. Joy, you could see it in nature. You can see it with us. Why in the rizzle drizzle do you think we all love Chick-fil-A? Why in the rizzle drizzle do you think we love Chick-fil-A? Because my boy Truitt re-engineered all the pillars of service, and we'll talk about that at a different time. Okay. So all I'm trying to help you guys understand, if you're in service-based business and you understand that, you're going to understand it. So, but remember, it affects the country that's imposing the tariff first. So it's going to affect our currency, DOI. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, iPhone retakes the lead in China market after the shipments soar. Bro, don't you just feel like that freight train of Apple literally, like the brakes were tripped? But the thing about Apple though, it's not like a normal like mile long freight train. Think of that like as a fortune company, but like the Magnificent Seven, right? Or like the top 10. Think of them as like um, Some of them are like 10-mile long freight trains. Some of them, I swear to you, are like 100-mile long freight trains. Okay. And a couple of them are like 1,000-mile freight trains, but not really. Like 100-mile freight train is like the longest you're going to see. And there's like the reserve for like the top 10, which means if you trip the brakes, something affects the momentum. Anything positive or negative affects momentum. Okay. You're going to start seeing this train slow down. And we've been seeing the train slow. It hasn't seemed like it for, let's see, when our boy passed away, right? When Steve Jobs passed away, we saw you didn't see the brakes were tripped. You didn't see it. You're seeing it now. You're feeling it. I know it. I'm not the only one who feels this. You can feel it too. You're like, okay. So it's weird for me when I see that Apple or the iPhone overtakes anything because they're always, um, like forever behind everybody else when it comes to tech. And you're starting to see that their fans are starting to lose a lot of their luster. Mind you, all my computers, I love Apple, by the way. It's just my phone. There's one particular app that I've never been able to have on an iPhone that I've had since my BlackBerry. It's the only reason. So I'm still like a lover of them, but it's just we understand why, right? What else is going on in the news today? All right. Ooh, Tesla poised to be early winner as Canada opens door to Chinese-made EVs. Okay, this is a big deal because Tesla, you understand that they are actually they're geniuses at perspective. Okay, and they're actually genius at what they're best at more than anything is Trojan horsing you. Okay, so now. I think Tesla has been one of the greatest Trojan horse companies ever. I think the only company that was better than them was Amazon. Okay, so let me explain to you why. So for years and years and years, companies basically every quarter on their quarterly calls have to they have to list the industries they're in. Now, it makes no sense why huge companies who really should know their competitors better than anybody else tend to be some of like the slowest moving like vessels when it comes to this stuff, which makes no sense because if we can see it, how do they not see it? I don't know. But I'm talking like probably 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, I was reading that Amazon in India was testing their version of their own version of USPS, the postal service. Because I've said this often, I've said this a million times. USPS has been broken because there's been no incentive to fix it, and so he's been testing it in India, and I'm like, right, because you know how everything that Amazon does, and typically the Magnificent do, is they build products from themselves. They're all big believers in eating their own home cooking. They all believe in that. Okay, they build product for themselves, and then they will scale that product to allow the customers, which it ends up paying for itself, ends up being its own business profit center. Right? You know that the CEO today of Amazon was basically the CEO of AWS. Right? Right? Which happens to be just one of those products that Amazon had a 7-year head start on. Right? And so when you see this and you see these big companies doing their own thing. And so I've really been saying for 10 years, oh my gosh, Amazon's moving in the logistics business. Mark my words, one day, by just being a Prime member without buying or selling anything and having it shipped to you, you'll be able to basically stop into a distribution point, okay, and mail something. And here's kind of a little, by the way, again, you guys know the show is basically it's honor of, and so here's a prediction. The distribution points right now that you see that you can go and send back returns will be where you can also mail packages to other people. Okay. So you can literally go to, I need to send something to grandma. And guess what? The way they can get anything anywhere with it, it basically is going to replace priority mail. And you'll basically have it when you are already or maybe an additional $100, additional for basically unlimited shipping outside of receiving mail. It's happening. So when Amazon changed on their quarterly call years ago that they're finally in the logistics business. I was like, Doy, okay, everybody knew that, right? And the very next day, FedEx dropped their contract. The next day. And I was like, right, but they already knew that. Like, how did none of you morons know this? I thought everybody knew this. Okay. Tesla's the same way. You guys are absolute, hear me, and I reserve this because I don't like calling names. You guys know that. Like, that's just not normally me, but listen to me, okay? You guys are all idiots and morons, okay? We're gonna call you guys are all IMs, okay? I'm gonna start saying you're all IMs, okay, idiots and morons. You're gonna start knowing what IMs are, okay? Because I don't want to say forever, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Idiots and morons, okay? If you think that Tesla is just an electric car company, please, do you have any concept, any effing concept of what this dude is building? Oh no, 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 no. Oh, it's the everything else store. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, no, no. This boy's going head to head with Mobile Exxon. Yes, he is. He's going head to head with BP. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. If I wasn't just so obsessed with business and business owners and our accounting firm, where every penny that we have goes back into our business, that's I would honestly this, in my opinion, again, no advice here whatsoever. Okay, this is just another prediction that the way Amazon was in the '90s, that was such a revolutionary type of um, type of product level of service. Tesla's going to be the same way. The same way Bitcoin was. These are kind of once in a lifetime type of gigs. You guys are going to see that. Please, please, please understand this dude is building an energy monster. Okay. That's just one of them. Okay. Everything doesn't make any sense. These guys, I've always said this. And by the way, you want to know if a company's going to change the world? Here is a little, I call it Navi note. Okay. A little note here from Navi. Okay. Go back the last 50 years and look at the companies that became publicly traded that have original founder who's the founder running the company. Okay. And when that founder is driving the same piece of crap that he was driving before, and he's I'm talking uh high hundreds of millionaire or billionaire. Okay. He's still driving the same piece of crap. You need to basically say, yep, I'm not saying all my eggs in one basket, but this dozen eggs and a half, yeah, one of these eggs is definitely going in that basket. Definitely going in that basket. Let me just go on YouTube and okay, look at Jeff Bezos in the 90s and today. They're not the same dude. Okay. The dude today is insane. By the way, the brain doesn't change. His body's just like, it's a dude. Okay. Go back in the 90s. He's a billionaire. I think he's worth like 4 billion. He's being interviewed. He's driving a piece of crap like Honda Accord. Okay. As I think he's worth like 4 billion. He's driving a piece of crap Honda Accord. Okay. And it's like, the reporter's like, okay, you can have anything you want. Why are you driving this? And he's like, it's a practically good car. And you're like, for the love of God, Warren Buffett, as a billionaire, was driving his like 2000 Lincoln Town Car. Sam Walton, okay, like literally, I don't think he was a billionaire, but literally generationally wealthy, still literally driving his F-100 Ford pickup truck. The Google boys, LP and SB, LPSB, these boys were driving Priuses as billionaires. Hear me, listen to me. Here is a stock picking secret, okay? Go back in history and find companies. So right now, if you find a company, you have a founder who's in the early days, who's really, really well off, and they don't change their car, uh, you've got somebody that's obsessed with the business. Yep, you get one of my eggs. By the way, this is not advice. I'm just telling you how it works, and go back and look at history. Those guys that were founders, wealthy, still driving piece of crap cars. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, yep, I'm gonna clip my little clothespin onto that bottom of that coattail. I'll be putting a little master lock and holding on to that bad boy, right? That one's going somewhere. That one has nothing to do with money. That one has a purpose. That's the people you need to basically have the. I need to hang out with that one. When Zuckerberg was offered $1 billion for Facebook, he's like, nah, I'm cool. Yep, that's because he never did it for the money. And these people that never do it for the money can't be controlled. It was actually Charlie Munger said this one time about Elon Musk, and you guys will hear it's only because the dude's literally wealthiest dude on the planet in the news every day, owns like the number one news platform on planet Earth. But Charlie Munger said one time, never under what do you say? Never underestimate the man that overestimates himself. Never underestimate the man that overestimates himself. If you've got somebody that's got this Pollyanna mindset, that's like, man, it doesn't make any sense. Everything just happens. Like, bro, like things just like manifest, bro. Yeah, yeah, and you see that one trying to change the world. Elon Musk did this one time, and it changed my life because he was being interviewed about what his motivation is, and he said, "What motivation? I don't have motivation." He said, "That's not what drives me." He goes, "Every day I wake up and I ask myself, basically," and he said, "For us, it's very much either we do or die trying. It's not ever about the money. It's about the cause." Okay. Listen, I'm about to give you, I saw years ago, I was reading in an article, Richard Branson. You guys know the Virgin icon, okay? The brand, okay? The famous CEO. I resonate so much with him because he also has dyslexia, but he also has a form of synesthesia that I have. And so we just see things in very vivid pictures, which didn't do us well in school, but does us really well in business. But I saw this years ago and I thought, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I'm going to give you guys something like a little tip here. This is straight from Richard Branson. Okay. And you guys know this is not a kid show. And I'm going to quote Richard Branson. Okay. So here's somebody who asked him, what's the secret to building billion-dollar companies? Listen to me right here. This is going to make you 1% smarter today. Right here. You know, that's the goal of our show, right? Right here. Here it is. The secret to building billion-dollar companies. As a CEO, I have to focus on only three things. Number one, and this is straight from Richard Branson, okay? Like you just got his journal. So listen, three things. Number one, craft the vision for how you're going to change the world. Make it crystal clear, okay? Make it crystal clear. Number two, find the best GD people in the world to go and execute on that vision. You guys know what GD is, okay? Sell them on that vision. Find people that get excited about what you're doing. Okay. Number three, give them the resources to do their job better than anyone else in the world and get the hell out of their way. That's it. If you ever get a chance to be working with or for somebody that has a vision to change the world and they're putting the best people on planet Earth around that table, and you see that the leadership is feeding you resources, and you also see that the owner and leadership is driving old crappy cars, even though they shouldn't be. For the love of Mary, hang out there for a while, for a real long while. They're about to change your life because those people will come in and out of your life like shooting stars. And when you find them, you must grab a hold of that coattail. That's a comet that's going to take you somewhere. I promise you. And by the way, this is just history. Go look, right? Because when people are more obsessed with a purpose than they are pleasure, which is money, those people change the world. They can't be controlled. They are a wild horse that can't be tamed. They are a wild Mustang. It is the most beautiful, powerful thing. This thing must be on the hill by itself. It's like it's all muscles. It's just it just has to carve its own path, man. That individual will change your life. Okay, so well, that kind of wraps up some juicy news. I told you guys, I apologize that the show was not my best, but it's because, again, I woke up this morning on the couch at 2 a.m. and it had nothing to do with being in trouble in the doghouse. My wife stayed the night with a friend in a hotel, and they hung out. They went to a comedy club, and I'm so happy for her. She's the hardest working human I know. And so I just it was really cool that she got a chance to do that. And so I was out of my routine. So I just happened to fall asleep on the couch like an idiot. Okay. So by the way, you guys will hear me call myself idiot and moron, right? So this is I'm. Okay. And no, I did the same thing. Woke up 2 o'clock this morning. So I messed up my sleep. But I know why you guys are here. And I want you guys to understand you guys are here for a little bit of education, a little bit of humor. But if you guys are interested and you're having your own I don't know, your own personal board of directors, you guys know that we're the only accounting firm that actually hosts our own peer advisory groups, and you don't have to be a customer of ours. So, and they're always free. Our belief is that the only way that you're going to be here 20 years from now, the only way that we're going to be here 20 years from now is to make sure that you're here 20 years from now, right? And so what better to help you run your business and help you mind your own business than have a team of 6 to 8 individuals that are all mom and pop venti shops like us, who are all working to help us accomplish our own goals. They're 12-week sessions. You'll get more done in 12 weeks than you do in 2 years. So if you're interested in one of our PAGs, yes, please go to businessforbreakfastradio.com. Submit a question to us. Let us know something. You got a great dad joke, put it in there. I'll see it. I'll reply back to it. I'll read it on air. Or if you do want to chat and you want to talk about business, do some consulting, you got an idea for a business, you want to talk about really anything. We want to talk about accounting, bookkeeping, taxes. We want to talk about payroll, whatever it is. Okay. Then yes, go into speakwithaaron.com. That's right. Speakwithaaron.com. And that is my personal scheduling website. And that's going to get you guys directly to me. And we'll talk about anything. Okay. So make sure that you guys go check everything out. But you guys know, before we finish and wrap everything up, I like to finish with a Scott Adams reframe. Okay. So this one, I'm really kind of excited about. It's actually coming from chapter 2, which is success reframes. Okay. So here, basically, it's kind of the old mindset, right? And this is actually from chapter 2, again, success reframes. And here is the original frame, is that somebody that's qualified, that's like a banker or an entrepreneur. Okay. But here is the new frame, right? And so it used to be, right? So, the person that was qualified was the banker or the entrepreneur, or a person that's got the degree, the MBA, right? And the unqualified person is the cartoonist, the author, the public speaker, right? The political pundit, right? But what he's saying here, okay, is that it's actually the opposite, because oftentimes when you're in a particular industry, right, we kind of get used to our own smells, right? You ever been to a friend of yours that's Indian, and you walk in, you're like, for the love of Mary, okay, I can smell the curry, right? It's like, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, all I smell is like potpourri and like Febreze. And like, that's right. That's because you don't, right? Or like you're around anybody, they get used to your own smells. Okay. So when you have a fresh perspective, okay, I'll tell you one of the most brilliant, the reason why these two gentlemen will forever go down in history as being some of the most self-aware, best predictor of world events, is because they understand people, and they understand motivation, and they understand pain, pleasure, pattern recognition, the 3 P's of primal existence. They understand this stuff. Okay. They get it. Right. Matt Groening, the creator of Simpsons. Find me anybody better. Scott Adams, definitely up there. I think Matt Groening probably. Scott Adams is podium winning for predictions. I don't think he's number 1. I think Matt Groening, but I promise you, these two individuals lap you like Michael Phelps when it comes to IQ and awareness and intelligence. Map you like not like map. Lap you. I'm a swimmer, so lap, not map. Right? They lap you. That's because they understand it. Okay, it's like from a different planet. Okay, so make sure you guys are really being intentional. Again, you guys know the purpose of each of these shows is to give you guys a little bit of encouragement. In a sense, it's kind of like our little daily church service for mom and pop venti shops, right? A little bit of encouragement. I want to motivate you guys. I want to inspire you guys. I want to teach you a little something. And because honestly, who's there to help us, right? Nobody, right? And so this show is dedicated to you guys. And with that, I think that wraps up, even though I'm like 80% there. I don't know. What do you think? Best Business for Breakfast episode you've ever seen? I don't know. I feel like it was our very first Whiteboard episode. Pretty cool, huh? Very first one, right? And so, but you guys will see also that I put a pretty decent description in the notes too, to let you guys have chapter markers and stuff like that. Again, if you guys need help with anything, you guys know you can get to me with speakwithaaron.com or businessforbreakfastradio.com. Submit a question, always there. And we need to wrap up. Well, you guys know what time it is, right? And you guys know, whether you think it's hard or you think it's easy, you're right. Your mindset is everything. Things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And with that, I've done enough talking. It is time. It's time. What's it time for, Aaron? I don't know, man. You know what it's time. You know what time it is. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's time. It's time for what? Oh, it's time to get to work. Pow!